It is time.
Shark's in order. Our shark.
There's a Sharknado coming!
Dragon sharks?
Are those sharks with laser beams attached to their heads?
Welcome to the
Sharks.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your host, Rob, with his co-host, Steve.
Yo.
And Squid.
Hey, guys.
This is the Real Shark Podcast, and you're listening to episode 32. And we have a great program for you here today. We're going to be doing a review of Superman Red Son. We're going to be discussing the movie The Fan on Movie Rewind. And we're going to be talking about Candyman and Sonic. Big shout out to our partners out there, the Film Geek Collective, George, a.k.a. Spike Green over there, and Sherlock Lester Video. Make sure you guys check out all his merchandise at his site. That's going to be Twitter at Sherlock Lester Video. And to all our listeners around the globe, hey, thanks for making this an international podcast. We love you and appreciate you. And it's time for Real Sharks.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Shut the hell up.
Alright, everybody. What's going on? So, what's going on, guys? What's been new? Anything new going on with you guys? So we've been off the air for a minute, doing that, life living.
Yeah.
Just kind of busy out there, so we apologize to anyone who's been waiting on our content. Hey, but we appreciate all the love you guys give us, because you guys did check out some of our bonus stuff on our webpage. We really appreciate that. We actually got an award from WordPress that talked about how much web traffic we got this month from all of you, so we really appreciate that. That was a new milestone for Real Sharks, and hey, you guys made that possible, so we appreciate that and love you. Anyway, so we're going to kick it off a little bit different. We don't have too much movie news to get to, but we are going to talk about a movie that we have been waiting for, and we did speak about this one. Superman Red Son came out. And, let's go around the table. And first, we're going to just declare whether we enjoyed it or not. So, I'm going to go first. I didn't care for it too much. Squid?
I was not a fan of it at all.
Steve?
I enjoyed it. Really.
Alright, so let's go around the table now and talk about what we liked and what we didn't like about it. So what I enjoyed about it, I enjoyed this new glimpse into a alternative world of Superman. I thought it was very interesting. I liked all the connections, like, Lana, Svetlana, I liked all that. We should back up real quick. Sorry. For those of you who don't know what Superman Red Son is, or you haven't heard of our old episode, Superman Red Son is basically a graphic novel about Superman, the man from Krypton, crash landing not in America, Smallville, Kansas, but actually crashing in the Soviet Union, and is raised under the communism.
Dun, dun, dun.
Basically, the whole story is Superman works for the USSR until he finds out all the atrocities that Joseph Stalin is committing, and basically takes over the USSR, goes against the world and goes against American capitalism. There's a alternative universe where there is no longer a Green Lantern, but a Green Lantern Corps, or Corp, whatever you want to call it. That's part of a Marine Corps in the United States. There's also an American Superman with the Superior Man, which is basically supposed to be superior to this Superman, but he's of course not. Lex Luthor's in it, married to Lois Lane, and he's got hair. So he doesn't really have any need to be a supervillain. But it's interesting. It's an interesting story. I'm not going to give too much away from there because I want everyone to see it and judge for yourself. But back to my little review, I should say. I did not really care for it in so much sense. So this is going to be some spoilers here. So spoilers, everyone.
Light ones.
So what I did enjoy about it, like I said before, I liked all the the clapbacks to how this universe has changed, but not really, with like Lana, Svetlana, basically how he became Superman, being bullied and not basically trying to use his powers because he was scared. All that jazz was great. What I didn't care for is it almost seemed like 4 movies. It seemed like 4 movies put together in a very short amount of time. I mean, at first it was like, this guy coming out, him basically establishing himself as Superman, and then it was about like him and Lois Lane. Then it was about him and Batman. Then it was about him and Brainiac. I mean, it was literally. I mean, I don't know if I'm the only one who thought that, but I thought it was literally almost like 4 different movies in it.
It was all over the place.
And I kind of, when I was watching it, I was like, I would have been a lot happier if this would have been like a 2-parter, like Superman Doomsday and Reign of Superman, because I thought that was fine. I didn't mind that. I liked the 2-parter movie. I thought this could have been a 2-parter too. I was very, very surprised on how fast-paced it was. Like, for example, Batman comes in, and he's a big part of the original story, but he kind of like pops in, pops out, pops in again. It's like, yo, I'm Batman, and then Batman's done. So it was kind of the same thing with Wonder Woman too. Wonder Woman pops in, pops out, pops back in, and has like some relevance, and then she's gone. I didn't care for, and I don't know why, if there was trying to be this whole. Maybe I sense it, and I don't like to say this about movies because I don't like to talk about that. There was a big, huge political sense of the left and the right in the movie too, of like communism and capitalism. I mean, it was kind of funny because even that's why I didn't like it either. Even though the story in itself seemed almost like a propaganda piece for capitalism. I hate to say it, but it did, because when I was watching it, I was like, so Superman basically wants to make the world a good place and everything, right? And he's doing all these things. Of course, it's by force. But then all of a sudden, it's like the Americans are doing exactly the same stuff, and everyone didn't care about what they were doing at all. It was like no one cared about what the Americans or the capitals were doing at all. And it seemed really like everything was tilted against Superman. It was like no matter what he did, what good he tried to do, they were like, no, he's evil. He's an evil guy. I just saw this whole kind of like left versus right thing a lot in that movie. And
it was heavy-handed.
It was, I don't know if it was intended to be, but it just really seemed like it was one-sided. It was really one-sided. Even though this is Superman,
I was gonna say,
it was so one-sided. Also, too, last thing before I go, I hated, and this is in the novel, too. I didn't care for that. I hate the idea of Superman seeing the atrocities of the Soviet Union while he is in such high regard in the Soviet Union, and being stunned and so shocked by it and be like, oh God, how could you, and basically doing his original Superman Boy Scout, I gotta save everybody thing. I gave this movie a 6.5. And I have to say, it's the weakest DC animated film I've ever seen. I really thought it was weak, and I've been very proud of DC animated movies lately. I think they've been very, very good and strong, but this one to me seemed all over the place, seemed like it just didn't have a grasp of what exactly story it wanted to focus on, whether it was the Batman, Lois Lane, or the Brainiac aspect. So it was like, let's just try to cram all of it in there in one thing.
Yeah, I agree. Mine is even quicker than yours. Like I said, I think I'm the only one on this table who liked it. I liked it for the premise because it had a lot of ideas, and I agree with you, like what you said. It was just like, first it was like the Stalin thing, and it didn't make any sense. Like, he kind of approaches Stalin, and he's just like, what are you doing? Why are we doing it this way? Then he takes over. Yeah. So you're like, okay, is that what's the story going to be? Then Batman comes in, right? And then, spoiler, big thing happens with Batman.
But not very long at all.
But not very long. Like you said, he kind of like pops in and out, and then there's Wonder Woman, which it was like, why is she even here kind of thing. It was like, we just need these characters in it. And then, the Brainiac thing was like, what the hell is going on now? Now, they did do one cool thing with Batman and Superman about kind of like the Injustice storyline of what he was doing there. Yeah. I'm not going to give anything away. I'm going to let you guys watch it, but I don't know. I liked it for what it was trying to do, I think, more or less than what it was, because I agree with you, Rob. Like, it was just too all over the place. I feel like they were just like, let's just jam it all into one. We don't want to make it another film.
And what for? Because it's an animated film. It's not like it's going to theaters to have that many people. I mean, they did that with the Dark Knight Returns, and it was incredible. Both. I mean, I have a debate on which movie is actually better.
They did it with The Killing Joke as well.
Yeah. No, that's one movie. Yeah, that's
only one movie.
Yeah, it's only one movie.
Even though it has like two movies.
It's 2 movies in one movie.
Yes,
no, but
that's what it is.
What I was getting at is more like just do it in 2 films, 2 hour-and-a-half long films.
And that's what I gotta agree with you. I mean, when I watched this, I saw them cram like the entire issues in one movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, why? I mean, you could have put this into 2 different movies, and not. I mean, if they did this as 2 movies and left it like at the like a mid cliffhanger between him versus Brainiac,
that would have been better. Yeah, that would have been better.
And then come back with Red Sun, or Part 2, finish that fight and go off to Batman. I mean.
Why didn't they have him go through like the history of they like went right to Stalin, and this is like right after World War II. Why didn't they do like Vladimir Lenin and the Russian Revolution? Yeah, that would have been super.
They
cool
never talked about anything like that.
No, they didn't.
It was just like Superman was a kid, then all of a sudden Superman's like he's here.
He's like an adult and he's doing stuff. You're like, what?
So yeah, I
miss a lot.
I think that, like I just said, they tried to rush it and just threw all that in there. I mean, because if I remember correctly, I've read the first comic, and they actually go into a bit of his upbringing, but with this, I mean, they skipped so much. I mean, they could have put in like little flashes throughout the years, going up to him being an adult with Stalin. I mean, I think that would have worked a lot better, but they didn't. The only other thing I kind of liked and disliked was the Lantern Corps. I liked that.
That was bad.
But
it was just inserted there.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I didn't like that they put it as like a military form, like this is part of like the U.S. Navy or whatever they were trying to make it be.
Cold War type of
thing, like warriors. I mean,
the only thing I was thinking the whole time, because of what I've seen in DC and know about DC, I just saw all those Green Lanterns flying towards Superman. I was like, oh my god, they're all going to be slaughtered.
Right? That's
what I thought too.
I was like, you could have 100 of those Green Lanterns. It don't matter. Because they can't think of anything that would stop, unless you were like thinking kryptonite, and the kryptonite actually worked that way, which it doesn't.
Yeah.
You couldn't do anything about Superman.
Just throw yourself at him. Like this is gonna work.
Just so you know, Green Lantern gets his ass handed to him by Superman all the time.
Almost literally.
Yeah. It was a bloodbath. So overall, what did you give Red Sun Superman, Steve?
I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
Really? Okay. I'd give it a 6.5.
So I mean, okay, 6.5. So I guess we'll be
right in the middle.
We'll give it a 7 then.
Yeah.
We'll give it a 7 there.
But speaking of which, DC just dropped their newest animated trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Justice League Dark Apocalypse War.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't a fan of their original Justice League. I think that was kind of like one of their darker ones, no pun intended. It wasn't good. You're gonna watch it for Batman, I think.
Oh man, they're bringing in all the original cast members who did War and the other ones. I'm actually looking forward to this, because it's like they're doing this years down the road too. So I mean, they bring in the Teen Titans. There's a teenage Damian now, Raven, and all of them. I think it's going to be pretty good.
Is the new so in the quick question? I may be wrong, and this is a little off subject, but it has to do with DC.
All right.
Is the Robin in the new Teen Titans, is that Damian Wayne?
I think so.
Or that's still Dick Grayson?
No, it's Damian Wayne. He actually
in the Teen Titans movie, that's Damian Wayne.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the show.
The show? No, that's not him.
It's not him.
Dick Grayson.
That's Dick Grayson, I believe. Okay. But in the comics, it's Damian Wayne.
Can't be Jason Todd.
Yeah. Oh my god. Right? No love.
All right. Yeah, because I think it's Tim Drake that's like the new Robin in season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, no, Jason Todd loved him. What the hell?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking they're doing it like right after the Red Hood.
Yeah,
could be.
That's what I took a guess.
No, that's what it is. Is that Jason Todd was the Red Hood, and then it went to
Tim Drake.
Tim Drake. I always forget his name. Sorry, Tim Drake. Yeah, and then Tim Drake got taken over by the Joker in Batman Beyond.
Yep.
Yeah, he was, and then he was the Joker.
Yeah, then he was the Joker.
Yeah.
I got a movie rewind for you guys here today, so let's kick that off here. I want to talk about 1996, The Fans, starring De Niro and Snipes. We'll get a kick on baseball season before it gets here. And I thought it'd be an interesting film to bring up. Gets zero love. It's actually a pretty low-rated film all across the board. And just so everyone knows, this will also be movie of the day. So, you know, now that I've rewatched it recently, and I thought it was, I think it's okay. I don't think it's a bad movie. Everyone says, like, some of the critics said it lacks the thrills in it. But I'm like, I don't know. In this day and age, there is a lot of films that are kind of about that whole person being obsessed with another person, murder mystery thriller. And I was like, this movie, although it wasn't the original, did it too, in a sports kind of way, though. For those of you who don't know what The Fan is, it's about a fan of baseball, Robert De Niro, who's obsessed with the game of baseball, and he's also obsessed with the player, who is basically Wesley Snipes. And that guy gets traded from Atlanta to the San Francisco Giants, and he starts doing real bad on the Giants. And so Robert De Niro kind of stalks him and basically does him favors, like real sinister favors. And in the end, he kind of meets this guy who's his hero. Actually, saves his kid while doing it. Spoilers. And he poses a question for him, like, why'd you get better? Thinking he's going to be like, oh, some guy helping me. And he actually just says, I stopped giving a shit. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, I just stopped caring about what everyone thought about me, and I just started hitting the ball again. And it, like, really messes up Robert De Niro, because he's like, I've been sacrificing everything, including his own kid for this guy, in a sense, too. Because he's also a knife salesman, a real bad father, too, at that. So the whole rest of the movie, he basically kidnaps this guy's kid and wants him to basically pay a tribute to him at a ball game by hitting him a home run and, saying this is for him and everything like that, while going so far as to pose as the umpire in the middle of the game to prevent it from happening. But I don't know. Let's go around the table. I want to know, before I give my judgment, what do you guys think ultimately of The Fan? I mean, is it a stinker or is it a thinker?
It's a middle, I think. It's one of those films that I remember renting a long time ago, like in the early 2000s. I think I saw it.
Was it from Blockbuster?
I think it was. It must have been at that time. It was, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like, I agree with what you said initially. I think it's just one of those movies that, yeah, it just didn't, like, even though it had, like, moments where it was tension, and it was weird, too, the whole umpire scene, I remember, I was like, what? That's weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just never stuck with me. And this is a big cast. Like, yeah, I remember John Leguizamo's in this, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Benicio del Toro, I think, right?
Yep,
yeah, I think he was in this. So, you had a bunch of, like, people, and then they were young at the time, and it was, I don't know, it just didn't stick with me. This is when Snipe was at his, like, height, too.
Yeah, this is when Snipe was coming up, and Robert De Niro was kind of going down, slowing down a little bit. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad movie, though. I don't think it's as bad as people gave it.
Yeah.
Back in the day?
Yeah. What do you think?
It got trashed.
Back in the day, I mean, this movie, yeah, it was really bad, but, there was never that moment of, like, in the world where something like that actually kind of clicked with people's minds. Nowadays, if this movie came out, I think this would be like box office gold.
That's what I'm saying.
Because people know, hey, this actually does happen.
Yeah, that's what
I mean, there are some crazy people out there.
And the race factor too. So they're like, oh my god, yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. I think Squid's really onto something. That's what I'm saying. And, he's the sporting guy here too, among all of us.
I
mean, as a sports movie too, it's legit.
It is.
It has the Braves. It has the Giants. It has real things about sports in it too. How players won't give up their numbers because of good luck and bad luck. I mean, there's a lot of nostalgia in this movie towards real Major League Baseball too,
and the severity of like how fans really do stuff like this. That people would think like, oh, they wouldn't. Like, no, there are fans that legit stalk these players, and they like try to call them up and follow them home and do stuff like that.
A lot of them have bodyguards.
And what I think too, why this film doesn't do very well too. It's a very, I would say, realistic film. There is no like, both characters are kind of pieces of shit. Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
But not just that. Even the things that happen to Wesley Snipes as a player is realistic. Like, for example, when he goes to that Make-A-Wish thing, and that kid asks him to hit the home run, and he hits the home run, then he's like, did the kid get to see his home run? And he's like, nah, the kid slipped into a coma before the game even started. You know, I didn't want to tell you to make you lose, you know, concentration on the game. You know, stuff like that, man, is real. That's real, you know, it's tragic that it sounds. It's like, no, that stuff really does kind of go down like that.
You know, I mean, I probably saw this or rewatched this a couple of months ago, and it just kind of clicked with me. I mean, I may sound bad, but, you know, I really felt bad for Robert De Niro's character being that struggling nice salesman. Like, can't make any sales.
Dying business at that. Terrible father. He gets his kid taken from him, too. Which was another whole aspect they never really touched on the story. I mean, it was only kind of a motivational factor for him to go crazy. It was never nothing they really emphasized in the movie.
I don't know, Rob. It's kind of like the Joker type thing. It's like you kind of want to feel bad for him, but then he just does something terrible, and you're just like, I don't even care about what you did.
Right.
You know?
It's true, but you can just tell this is like a lost guy that has nothing but baseball left. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, this movie was actually kind of revamped into a Hollywood kind of a situation with The Fanatic, and that just bombed even worse than this movie did.
Really? Oh, I didn't think about that.
That's very true with John Travolta
playing the guy. Yeah. I'm trying to remember.
No problem.
Yeah.
You're on fire, sir.
This is kind of like your thing right here.
I know. Well, because I saw the trailer, and I mean, wow, this is like a total ripoff of The Fan.
Let your nuts.
Yeah. All right. So John Travolta and Devon Shaw. Wow, I can't believe that was Devon Shaw. He's aged a lot. But, you know, I mean, I saw the trailer for The Fanatic, and I mean, it clicked in my head. I mean, this is a Hollywood version of The Fan. Take away the baseball, add that Hollywood factor into it, and bam, let's see if we can do well. And ladies and gentlemen, it did not. It has a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 4.9.
Hey, The Fan is at least a good movie.
It's better than that one, right? Actually, better than that one.
The Fan's doing well there.
And you know, it kind of surprised me and it makes me laugh too because the Fan has 34%.
Yeah. I think it should be higher nowadays. I think what you said was absolutely perfect. I think that if this movie came out nowadays, it'd be box office gold. People would be like, did you see that movie about that guy stalking that baseball player? That's so real nowadays. Alright, we're going to take our first break. We'll be right back, all our real sharks.
Throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. And if you like fish and grits and all that pimp shit, everybody let me hear you say, oh yeah, girl. Now throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care.
Hi, my name is George, aka Spike Green. You may remember me for shouting out Real Sharks podcast over at the Film Geek Collective. Basically, anyone who supports us at all gets to be part of the collective. No money required. If you want to learn more about film, if you want to learn just a whole bunch of tricks and tips and stuff, and just various things about film, I am like a go-to guide. I hope to be a go-to guide. Now, if you want to check out the Film Geek Collective, the link is anchor.fm/George-D2. Alright? Well, I guess I'll see you guys there, and thank you, Real Sharks Podcast. Keep listening to them too. Thank you so much. You're always welcome at the Film Geek Collective, and don't you forget it.
Do you or someone you know struggle through life with anxiety-related mental disorders? Ever get that feeling that you are one of the few? I'm here to tell you that you are not alone. Take a journey with me as I talk about key points in my past and how they may have led to me being diagnosed with anxiety and panic disorder. After which, we will talk about different ways to tone down the anxiety and maybe even beat it together on anxiety. The easiest way to remember the name is by thinking about how one searches for a state of zen in the midst of the anxieties of life. My name is Gerald, and I'm the host of Anxiety.
Alright, welcome back, everybody. I want to talk about a article that you wrote a few months back about what we do in the shadows.
Oh, movie.
Yeah, no, not the movie. I watched the new show on FX finally.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of got tricked into watching it. It was kind of like
How did you get tricked?
well, it was just like you have to watch this now because I've watched you watch all these other movies, so I have to watch. You have to watch this now with this. So I watched it, and I have to say I fucking loved it. I loved it. And, I read your article too, and I thought the trailer and everything was funny about it too. But I watched the show recently, and my God, the show is just fucking unbelievably brilliant. So many funny things to do with vampires. So yeah, it's the new one with Natasha Demetriou, Matt Berry, Kavan Novak, Mark Prakash, who looks like you, Harvey Galan, who plays Guillermo. Man, I really liked it. And, I read what you were talking about with your article, how it's kind of a mockumentary between those two films. But man, this one is brilliant. It's so funny. It's funny in like a really, really realistic kind of way too. Matt in that, he's Merkimer in Disenchantment, and I absolutely love that guy's voice. God, it was so funny. And I love how they added the energy vampire in the show too. For people who don't,
heard about that.
Yeah, for people who don't know what We Do in the Shadows is, so it was a movie.
Yeah, back in 2014.
Yeah, and then it got turned into a show on FX, and I like I said, the show is just absolutely hilarious. There's everything you could ever want in it, like jokes like they have to let the right one in as a vampire, so there'll be times when they're standing at a door and someone will just be looking at them and they'll be like, "Can you please let me in?" "Okay, you can just come." "No, you have to invite me in." And they're like, "You can come in." And he's like, "Oh, thank God." And they'll just be able to walk in the door then. There's so many funny things. It's a great show. And this is our I guess this would be our probably second TV review on the show. So I'm going to actually give What We Do in the Shadows we'll give it a 7.8.
That's pretty high.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
I really enjoy that show. I think it's really funny. So I want you to go ahead and touch base a little bit on that, on the article and the original piece that they have.
Yeah, when I heard about What We Did in the Shadows back in 2014, I'm like, okay, this kind of looks like something that's going to be a refresher and something different. I mean, I never watched it because I...
What film was it that was copying that one originally?
Vampires. Just Vampires. That was the other name of the mockumentary movie that came out. But that came out in 2010, and that one was based in France, too.
Okay. So was that based off What We Do in the Shadows, or was What We Do in the Shadows a ripoff of that?
Kind of a little bit. I mean, it took the premise of the mockumentary, focusing on 3 vampires instead of a family of vampires. And in my article, it was the vampires. The daughter actually falls in love with a human.
That's right.
And the son actually wants to become human again because he's tired of the vampire life.
Tired of living that BD life. Vampire Diary life,
But I love the movie because it's hilarious, and it has a lot of the guys from Flight of the Conchords. Oh my gosh, I think his name was Jermaine. And their manager was in What We Do in the Shadows, so he played one of the werewolves. If anybody has ever seen the show, I suggest going to go see this movie. It's a good
adaptation.
It is, and I've heard such great things about the show. I'm actually working on my next article right now, but after I get done with that, I'm actually gonna go watch the show.
All right, what do we got next?
I don't know. Have you guys ever seen the original Candyman?
Yeah, of course, Candyman. There's like 2 of them, right?
3.
3
3
actually.
of them, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the first one.
I liked the first. The second was actually decent.
Decent.
But just recently, back in 2018, I don't know if you guys remember, Jordan Peele said he was going to.
Why? What is going on here? Why are all these prominent black comedians remaking some of these films? You had Chris Rock remake Saw, aka Spiral.
Yeah, what's with the horror genre?
Yeah, and then now they're gonna make Candyman. Well, because what's funny, Candyman has always had this tone of underlying racism to it too.
It does.
Oh, the whole backstory with him being
Yeah,
like a slave
yeah,
and
it is.
stuff like that.
Well, no, just the where it takes place in that tenement itself. All that has a lot of nuance to the film itself.
And it's like a white lady.
Yes, and some people
know.
would say, like, we've spoken on this film as what we call a white savior film, but that's not what I'm trying to pick at here. Is that the whole movie itself, like the whole poor, like the whole rundown tenants in that Chicago area, that was real. That was some real stuff that went on with murders and stuff in that tenant building. So Candyman is kind of like this collaboration of all the horrific things that were taking place back in Chicago back in the day, like that in those tenant buildings. They actually tore them down now. They don't exist.
Yeah, the projects.
Yeah. And they even used them in that film, but they don't exist anymore. So it's kind of this whole, like, you know. And, you know, someone even say it's about, you know, this woman finally seeing the other side of poverty kind of thing. But, you know, it's an interesting film. I like Candyman. But, you know, go back to what you were saying.
Jordan Peele said he was going to make a spiritual sequel to the original from 1992.
Spiritual, okay.
Yeah, it's in quotations. Spiritual.
Yeah, spiritual successors, kind of like in the vein of the first film, but kind of doing its own path. I don't mind
Instead
that.
of a right hand, hook on the right hand, he has an left.
Yeah. He's wearing a
I would
trench
totally
coat.
remake a movie just like that, and like just totally remake it frame by frame like that. When people are like, "What did you do different?" I'm like, "Did you not see the hook? It was on the left hand."
Right, I know. No, wait a minute. I know what you did last summer, guy. He had it in the left hand, so he has that reserved.
That's what I'm saying. Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna rewrite that movie, and it's gonna be in the right hand.
More scarier.
You know, I haven't seen the trailer for it yet. It's supposed to be dropping any day soon, but you know,
Okay.
I really hope that Tony Todd comes back as Candyman because
How old is he now? Yeah, he's old now.
Hold on, man, let me pull it up.
Yeah, I don't know. He seems like an older guy.
He is 65.
Wow.
It's a little too old.
I don't know about that.
No, he's too
No.
old.
I mean, because if you're doing a spiritual successor, do you really want to use the original guy? You kind of want to go
Maybe.
younger, maybe.
Maybe like a cameo. Maybe have him pop out and be like, "Beware of the Candyman, little boy."
Maybe. I mean, they
You know,
could.
something like that.
I wouldn't mind that.
If that's how it comes back down to, if it's just a cameo, I mean, as long as it's like something kind of gets to your bone, and oh shit, what was that?
Gets to your bones. Just put the shiva in the quiver, right in the bones. Is that what you're going to do? Wow. Squid likes it in the bones. I heard some things about that Sonic movie. I heard it was fantastic. Yeah, I heard it was brilliant. It was amazing. Everyone was like, Real Sharks was 100% right. This was an Academy Award-winning film. And they were like, the only thing it's missing is, like what host Rob said, is a hedgehog running at full speed doing a hedgehog fucking drive-by, man. That was what that movie was missing, apparently, is what I heard. I haven't seen it yet myself, but it's in the plan, you know. It's in the works. Oh, you saw it, though?
Yeah, man. I saw it.
You saw it? Didn't creep you out?
Yeah, a little bit.
It didn't make you, like, sit there and go, I wonder what gender Sonic the Hedgehog is.
Dude, I had one.
Because that was something that was going around the internet, is people were like, why can't Sonic, you know, like, be gay? Or give a gender. Yeah, give a gender for Sonic.
I've always assumed Sonic was a male because his love interest is Amy, and she's a female.
Is that really the love interest?
It is. Amy was the love interest.
She's not a fox, right? She's another hedgehog?
I don't remember what.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I think she is a hedgehog.
Interspecies relationships. Yeah. Get over it, Billy. Get over it, Squid. God, you're terrible.
Hedgehogs here.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's a hedgehog hater.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, but you know, it looks interesting. All the CGI with Jim Carrey flying that thing looked pretty fantastic.
Dr. Robotnik, right?
Yeah. Dr. Robotnik.
People said that he actually acted crazy, like old Jim Carrey.
Like
old Jim Carrey, huh?
Style. Yeah, I was hearing that too. And there's even there's already memes about this movie with of just Jim Carrey.
There's already memes about Michael Jordan's Kobe Bryant speech, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're a good thing.
Yeah, right.
Only with Jim Carrey, I think that's.
You weren't supposed to have a response to that. I was just totally fucking with you.
As usual, audience.
Yeah. Yeah, how much has it made though so far? Like,
200 million, not bad for a film like this. What's had all this controversy around it, so I give it the thumbs up.
Controversy? What was the controversy? That Sonic wasn't looked Sonic enough? That was the controversy, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, you know how the internet is.
Well, now you know who the new controversy is whether he has a dick or not. Alright, so that's actually going to be the episode here. Thank you all for joining us, 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'm your host, Rob, with Steve and Billy, and this has been the Real Sharks Podcast, and we'll catch you all on the flip side.